Hi everybody, my name's Charlie and I'm making this video to show you the steps to assemble this kid's pit bike. This pit bike is 85% pre-assembled, and the rest of the assembling is easy. Everyone can finish it. So let's remove all of the contents out of the shipping box first, and remove all the packing materials, such as the foams, the wrapping papers, and the plastic ties and covers attached to the bike. If you have a small stool or a stand to lift the bike off the floor, that's helpful, but you can also assemble it without one, like in this video. But if you do have one, I encourage you to use it. It helps a lot with the assembling process. First, let's connect the shock to the bike's frame. If there's anything on the shock head, such as packing material, remove it first. Find the shock bolt and the nut from the toolbox. This is what they look like. Insert the bolt in the holes lined up for both the brace and the shock head. Cap the nut onto the shock bolt. Use the wrenches provided in the toolbox to tighten the nut and shock bolt together. Now we move on to the front to install the handlebars. Remove the bubble wrap from the handlebars. A pair of handlebar half braces are already installed on the bike. Sit the handlebar on the braces. Make sure the handlebar with the red tether switch is facing the left-hand side and the throttle handle faces the right-hand side. There are 2 uninstalled half braces and 4 handlebar anchoring bolts in the toolbox. Tighten 2 pairs of handlebar braces together with the 4 bolts. Now this step requires a large hexagon wrench to tighten the handlebar up to the bike. You'll need to pay a little attention here to the handle position. Make sure the vertical portion of the handlebars lines up with the front forks. They look like they're in a straight line from the side view. When tightening the braces, the tightening order would be 1, 3, 2, 4 from either a clockwise or counterclockwise direction. Next, we'll install the front wheel. Remove the wheel shaft first. We need to keep the 2 small shaft space washers and discard the lone one. You'll notice that the 2 shaft space washers are slightly different in their depths. Use the longer one for the side that has the brake calipers. The brake disc should go on the same side as the brake calipers. Insert the disc in between the red brake calipers. Then insert the front wheel shaft through the shaft holes. While you're doing this, the shaft hole may poke the front wheel bearing out of position. Make sure the bearing stays in place on the wheel. Find the right size wrenches from the toolbox to tighten the front wheel shaft nuts. Check the front wheel while tightening. Don't over-tighten or loosen. You'll know you're done when the front wheel can spin more than 3 to 4 cycles freely without wobbling. If the front wheel wobbles during spinning, continue to tighten the nuts. Now I'll try one more time, and as you can see, it works perfectly now. Of course, don't forget to check the front brake. Make sure the brake is functioning. Now I'll install the front fender. Before doing that, let's put the handlebar brace cover up first. Let's install the fender rack first. There are 4 fixing bolts, 2 long ones and 2 short ones. Use the short ones for fixing the fender rack. Use the medium hexagon wrench to tighten the fender rack bolts. Then, hook the fender onto the fender rack. Notice there are 2 hook slots on back of the fender facing up. There are 2 hooks on the fender rack facing down. The bottom 2 screw holes are for anchoring the fender bolts. Hook up the fender onto the fender rack. Make sure the fender rack hooks are inserted into the slots, like this. Use the hexagon wrench and 2 long fender bolts to attach the fender onto the fender rack. At this point, you need to check a few things. Tire pressure. If tires are flat or do not have enough air, you need to inflate the tires to the correct PSI, which is marked on the tires. Also, the chain tension. Sometimes these bikes are delivered with a loose or derailed chain that occurs during shipping. This is normal. I'll give you some advice on how to fix this after I complete the assembly. The last step is to apply the decals onto the panels of the bikes accordingly. Don't forget to connect the vent tube onto the fuel tank lid. Connect one end of the tube to the vent connector on the fuel tank lid. And insert the other end into the hole on the bike's frame. Now it's time to add some fuel into the fuel tank. In the toolbox, you should find this fuel mixing bottle. It has graduated lines for easy and accurate amounts of gas and oil mixing. This bike requires a 25:1 ratio of mixed fuel, so that means 25 portions of gas and 1 portion of 2-stroke mixing oil. The manufacturer suggests putting more oil in the mixed fuel for a new bike. It helps the engine break in with a little more lubricant. For a demonstration, we just used an external fuel tank to feed the fuel to the engine. Let's give it a try. Nope, it may not start right away when the engine's cold. Now, before getting the engine started, let's check a few things. First, make sure the tether cap is attached with the kill switch. Give the throttle a few turns. This is the choke valve. Lift up the lever to open the choke and move down the lever to close the choke. When starting with a cold engine, you can lift up the lever to open the choke. Now let's try it one more time. And there we go, the engine started. Remember, after the engine starts, we need to put the choke switch lever back down to its original position. Now it's time for your kids to enjoy the bike. Have fun. The following video tells you how to adjust the chain tension. First, loosen both rear wheel shaft nuts and both nuts on the chain tension adjuster. Then pull the rear wheel shaft backward to get a natural tension to the chain. Then, tighten the adjuster nut by the same amount on each side. Check the chain tension by pushing one side chain up or down. If the chain can move up or down within a half to 3/4 of an inch, the tension is good. Otherwise, it is too loose or too tight, and you should continue the adjustment process until the chain tension stays within a good tension range. In the situation where the chain was derailed from the sprocket during shipping transit, you need to remove the chain cover first and loosen the rear wheel shaft nuts and chain tension adjusting nuts. Then restore the chain onto the sprocket. Work through the chain tension adjustment procedure. Also, do not forget to put the chain cover back in place. At this point, you need to do a final check to make sure the rear wheel is correctly aligned. Now you're ready to tighten the rear wheel shaft nuts. If the chain tension changes during tightening the rear wheel shaft nuts, you need to go back and redo the tension adjustment until the proper chain tension is achieved. Your kids will be happy and enjoy wonderfully smooth bike riding.